Go High Level is like having this vehicle, this really cool vehicle with all these gizmos and gadgets, but you got to have gas to go in the vehicle in order for it to go. And so it gives them that instant gratification, because if you give them a good snapshot with some good outreach campaigns, etc., they can have leads going through that campaign, and you can activate that user significantly quicker.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined once again by Ross Christifulli. Did I get that name right, Ross?
Close enough. Yeah, Christifulli.
Christifulli, there we go. And Andre from his team. These guys are from LeadCarrot. If you hadn't watched the previous interview that we did with Ross, you should go check that out. But we're bringing them back today to talk about something new. Guys, thanks so much for coming on to chat with us.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Same here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
I mean,
Andre
Ross,
and
you look super busy. I'm sorry to pull you away from the important meetings that I see that you have lined up, but we appreciate the time.
Well, there's a lot of bottle caps to be found in this sand with the metal detector. So yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think this is Andre's first time being on screen in the high level community. He's he's the co-founder. He's my partner in LeadCarrot, and he's usually like in the basement doing all the coding away from the sun. So, so hardly anyone ever sees him. But as you can see, he's getting a tan with his Canadian background there.
Andre, thanks so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Chase. Thanks for having us here. I'm laughing because Ross is actually on the beach, and I have a fire in my fireplace up here in Canada. So it's quite different temperatures.
I love it. So let's hop into this, guys. So LeadCarrot, awesome tool, integrates with HighLevel for prospecting, right? Go out, get lists of people right away, jumpstart your prospecting. You guys took it a little further. So talk to me about the requests that you were getting and what led to this update.
Yeah, so we were having this thing where people wanted to let their clients use it, and they wanted to affiliate LeadCarrot, but the problem was every time they would go to our website, they would see LeadCarrot, and then they'd see like our white label version of Go High Level. And they're like, we can't send our clients to your website when you're selling the same software as we are. So we separated the two for a while, but then people like, hey, we really just want to put our own brand on it. Like we want to white label it on our own. So we tossed it around for a little while, whether or not we wanted to do it. And sure enough, we decided, let's go ahead and go for it. And so now we've set it up to where people have the ability to basically just add a utility into their own Go High Level SaaS and resell that, to their users. We're seeing it help people drop their acquisition cost, retain people longer. It's been great, because the only other way to generate leads for people is to run ads or to teach them. This allows them to get that instant gratification of getting leads without really having to go run ads for them.
Without breaking the white label, without having them to pay for something else. You know what I mean? I think that makes a lot of sense. And so we were talking about common use cases. Obviously, if your clients are in B2B, then it works really well. But then there's also the, what did you call it? The something 100 model?
Yeah. It's the B2C, it's the Dream 100 model. And I'll explain just really quickly what that is. Russell Brunson uses that term all the time, but it actually came from an old Chet Holmes book. I always screw it up and say Chet Atkins, but an old Chet Holmes book, I think it was called The Money Machine. And the idea behind it is that if I were to generate leads, once I get that lead, unless I get referrals from that lead, it's kind of gone. But if I can build a referral network, not only will the leads be warmer, but I can actually then, I'm going to continually get more and more leads. It's the same reason why people go to things like these B&I groups, or what do they call them? The local chamber of commerce meetings, things like that. They're networking with business owners because they want referrals. So what we're seeing people do in the who are B2C is they use it to set up networking meetings on autopilot. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that you were going after chiropractors, and you wanted a chiropractor to know, how can I use this platform when it's scraping businesses? Well, you can scrape other companies that service the same kind of people you do, but with a different product. So it could be massage therapists. You could scrape a list of massage therapists. And then what you do is you have these outreach campaigns set up where they can, get a cup of coffee with them and network. Every business owner wants to connect, especially right now while business is hard. So if they were to send them a simple message saying, hey, my name's so-and-so, I'm actually a chiropractor in the same community as you. I wanted to see if you'd be interested in getting some coffee sometime over the next couple of weeks, just to see if, there's any synergies here. Just something real lighthearted like that. You set up that campaign within Go High Level. Now you can scrape a bunch of companies that fit those criterias of people that could refer to you, and you start building that referral community. And that's essentially the heart behind the Dream 100, is the idea of going after building this network around you. One guy who's doing it, he said that he got, I believe it was a realtor, 13 referral partners within the first week, just using Go High Level and the white labeled scraper. And so people are loving it because they can go in there and they can scrape that data.
That sounds cool. I'm thinking, the gears are turning with all sorts of stuff, especially if you're B2B, right? Like, if you're like a catering service or whatever, you're just instantly prospecting within the app. That makes a lot of sense. So, Andre, do you want to give us a peek at this, what it looks like?
Yeah, we can give you a peek. Where do you think we should start off there, Ross?
You know what? I think the best place to start with is just show them what it looks like in the platform. And that way people can wrap their heads around the idea of it. And then they can, and then we can show them a little bit more nitty gritty of like the admin dash. It's funny. It's been kind of a weird challenge, Chase, in full transparency, where trying to get LeadCarrot to connect to Go High Level without having the API available for everybody. So the reason why I bring that up is because we've now got patches and fixed that stuff. So if anybody is watching this and they're like, well, I tried to integrate LeadCarrot with my system, but I don't have an API anymore, or I don't have an API key because I'm not on this level, so that won't work for me. That's no longer a problem because we're now just focusing off the location ID. So I just wanted to bring that up ahead of time, that this marriage, trying to integrate LeadCarrot with Go High Level, has been a fun challenge, but we've worked out most of the bugs on it.
Nice. Okay, cool. So this is living within High Level.
Yes. So we set it up with a custom menu URL.
Perfect.
And inside of there, it'll open it up. No login necessary because we use the custom variables on the URL.
Nice.
We slap it in, so we pass in the location ID, and then it just feels like it's built right into High Level, like it's built right into your agency, a CRM model. So inside of here, we're able to go ahead and do different types of searches. What say you, Ross? We want to find some chiropractors?
Sure. Yeah, and just so everyone knows, you can custom brand that, so the words LeadCarrot can come off. It could say your own brand, your own logo, any of that good stuff. Let's do some chiropractors in Seattle.
Seattle, Washington.
So there it pulls up your chiropractors.
Quite a few of them.
There's 377 of them. And then Andre, if I'm pretty sure that's all of them.
Yes.
So we could probably stop search. And then if you select them and then you go push to CRM, what it'll do is it'll actually go snag your contact or your tags from whatever tags you've set up. So that way, when you push it into the smart contacts, you can do a couple things. A, you can find them because like once you've got a lot of other ones, it'd be hard to go back and find them. But then the other thing, you can go ahead and push them.
Great.
But then the other thing too is if you were to set up a campaign, you could have it to where the trigger is when that tag gets applied. And then you can say what you want it to do when that happens. So that way, the second that goes in there, tag gets applied, sends them through the automations. And it's as simple as that.
Very cool. It looks great. I love
cool.
how it sits very nicely inside of the app. It looks like it's all part of the experience.
Yeah. Now let's show Andre how easy it is from the white label side. If you don't mind showing the white label admin dash on here. So this is what people who want to resell it, what they get into. And if you just want to show Andre how simple it is to connect it, why don't you explain it there, Andre?
Sure thing. The only thing that we require to be able to do this on the side for your agency is to go ahead and pop in your HighLevel agency API key. And once that's there, we give you the custom menu link URL that you want to paste into it, and you're done. So just to make it even easier, we have a little link that should take you directly to the right page. All right, so here we simply have to, go in here, create a new API key. Most of the time we just call it LeadCarrot because that makes a lot of sense. We'll call this LeadCarrot.
So I just
Awesome.
want to reiterate, we are in HighLevel. These guys have just completely customized the look of it. So the
Yeah, we give ourselves our own little navigation bar.
Right.
And so from here, we would grab our API key, paste that bad boy into here, and then click save. And we're good to go. Now we've saved the integration, and all we need to do is copy our custom menu URL and paste that in.
Very cool.
Create a custom. Yeah. Now, if you go back to the white label dashboard, Andre,
Yes, sir.
one other thing that I think is kind of nice. Aside from the branding where you can put your own branding, go to the usage screen here. So we wanted people to be able to feel as if they had a little bit of back admin say, because when you're white labeling something, if people are like, hey, I'm trying to search something or I can't find this, and you're trying to support your client, but you can't really see what it is that they're searching, that could pose issues from a support standpoint. So you can check the search history here. And then Andre, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know it's coming, but can you also limit per location?
Well, that's a great question, Ross. As a matter of fact, we have that button right here at the corner with the speedometer that will let us limit for any particular location that we wish. So you hit the button, we pick whatever our limits are going to be, daily, weekly, or monthly limits.
Nice.
And that location can't go ahead and do 100,000 searches.
Yeah, and I'll say why that's important, Chase, because people might think it's kind of crazy if they were to go, because the way that they can get access to this is at whitelabelscraper.com. But they might go there and be like, holy smokes, because it's expensive. It's not a cheap thing. It's $500 a month to be able to add this into your utility. And they might think, dear Lord, that's exactly what I'm paying for all of Go HighLevel. I wanted to talk about two things, though, that help that to make sense. Actually, three things.
I was just going to ask you about, you mentioned this the other day, and I was like, well, that's a pretty shocking figure. So yeah, tell me about what this has done when you put it all together and market it.
Yeah, so there's three things that I'll discuss. So the first one is searching actually is different than a database because it's costing us proxies and money as people are searching. So every time somebody does a search, there's actually a cost associated with it for us. So that's part of it. They get 10,000 searches. That could bring back, 100 to 1,000 searches or leads per search.
Sure.
So that's a lot of leads that end up coming through there. But a couple things about that is if somebody were to go try to buy or run their own scraper, they're going to pay at least that, if not more, just in proxies per month, if they're going to do something that's, quality. This is nice because they don't have to maintain it. We're maintaining the whole back end for them on that. The secondary thing is that when you add a scraper into your marketing, the cost of acquisition drops substantially. So if we run just ads straight up to the CRM, we end up paying between $80 and $120 per user, which even you said, wow, that's pretty good, because that is pretty darn good to get a $97 a month user, because after the first month, you're profitable. But when we add the scraper in with the marketing, we show the leads going through the pipeline, et cetera, our cost per acquisition drops down anywhere between, we'll just say $40 and $55 to be able to generate a sale through our ads. And then the third piece is the retention. You know, the retention is there because now people, like we discussed earlier, Go High Level is like having this vehicle, this really cool vehicle with all these gizmos and gadgets, but you got to have gas to go in the vehicle in order for
Right.
it to go. And so it gives them that instant gratification, because if you give them a good snapshot with some good outreach campaigns, etc., they can have leads going through that campaign and you can activate that user significantly quicker. The price is high by design because we want to be able to do it at scale and to be able to continue providing a cool service, but also we know that it's not for everyone, and we quite frankly don't want every single person on it, because if all of a sudden everybody has the scraper, it dilutes the appeal, because then everyone would be running ads for the scraper. So it is a more premium offer, and it's not going to probably be an offer for somebody who has no SaaS users yet. But if somebody already has 10, 20, 30 SaaS users, or they at least have a business that cash flows enough to where it makes financial sense for them to stand out a little bit by adding this in, making it feel native, it's a no-brainer.
So I just want to reiterate that. So what Ross is saying is basically they have a white label version of HighLevel, right? They've run ads to that, and he's saying basically it costs around $180 to get a new
80
subscriber.
to 120.
Okay, so in that range, to get a new customer, a new subscriber, on their white labeled version of HighLevel. But when he markets it as the white labeled HighLevel plus a scraping service or leads, prospects, now you're selling the system with leads, which is obviously a pretty compelling offer. I mean, when you mentioned that, I was like, well, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. It's like everything that you need in one, instead of the system and then, oh, we need to fill it with leads somehow. And I just thought that was incredible. The amount of money, the amount that it dropped to get a customer because the leads are packaged in with the software. So I think that's pretty fascinating. And what did you say? It was $55 to $65. I mean, that's you're profiting right away.
Yeah, and that's how we are able to profit right out of the gate. One other thing I wanted to mention by that is we're marketers, and so we look at something like this and we see, okay, there's other options out there. LeadCarrot's not the only scraper. You've got Lead Scrape, you've got D7 Lead Finder, you've got all these other scrapers that are out there in the world that exist. But if you're not a marketer and you're not in this world, like if you're a realtor, a chiropractor, in these different scenarios, they don't know all that. They just know data costs money. So you can actually add about $97 a month onto whatever you're charging now to be able to do this. And they're not going to make more than 15 to 30 searches per week. Most business owners, they just won't. So if you think about it, what it ends up doing is roughly every 10 users that you sign up, it adds about $2,500 of profit into your cash flow if you factor in that. So that's kind of how we've ended up doing the math for people, is not only does it cut your acquisition cost, but you could charge more for it. You're going to retain longer, so you're going to end up profiting more off of it.
It's pretty interesting. I mean, I like the fact, like, because of the integration you've built and the fact that it's so easy to run a search and then just select a tag and then it happens from there. I think it's very realistic that you could teach your client how to do prospecting themselves, because it's like, hey, we built the automation for you. It's sitting there waiting for anyone to get this tag. So anytime you want to drum up some new business, just go run a search and select the tag and your outreach is going to happen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the things that our users love, Andre, if you'll click on our chat support there on the little orange tab and then click on help desk. So in here, we actually have, if you'll open up our help desk, the cold, see where it says the new cold email machine? So we actually have this in there, and that's actually also on my YouTube. So what it is it shows you how to teach your user how to scrape a list, push it into the contacts, and have a campaign set up so that way, because Go High Level has this really cool feature in there that most people completely overlook and don't use, called drip campaigns. Like there's a lot of people not using drip campaigns, and it blows my mind because it's one of the most powerful things that you can do, because you can set up an automation campaign, fill it with, say, thousands of leads with the tag, just be pushing them over from LeadCarrot. And then you just send them all into a drip campaign and say, I want 50 to 100 of these to go out every day. And it's going to send 50 to 100 prospects a day. And you're doing nothing other than just responding to people. Like you almost sometimes forget it. And it's funny because when I've been retiring from my agency. We've been winding it down. We went from 220 agency clients down to like under 75 right now or so. Like we've been shrinking it because we're all in on SaaS. But when I was prospecting in my agency, it was funny because you could see that it was like the same time every day. All of them would go out, and all of a sudden, like your phone was ringing. Because what we would do is we would have it go into a voicemail drop. When the people would call back, it would wait a second and then say, hey, sorry, I'm in a meeting. I'll send you my calendar link. It would text them that calendar link and Go High Level. Then they would schedule their appointment, and we had it down to where every 500 that we sent out, we would get like 2 to 3 appointments from every 5 blasts. But we just showed people how to do that, and they loved it. And what's cool is you're activating your users because you're teaching them how to use the software through application. You're not just going through, this is what this feature does. This is what this feature does. You're going through and you're like, okay, this is what you're trying to accomplish. Let me show you how to do it.
Very cool. So can people get to this without having to?
Yeah. They just, if they just go on YouTube and type in my name, they can, I have all my help desk videos that I put in here like this. Obviously don't just take my video, because that would be weird for them to see LeadCarrot in your video, but just remake it. Like, I don't care. Just, we're all wearing big boy pants, and we're all selling the same white label thing. If it can help somebody to resell it, why not?
Awesome. Well, Ross, I mean, I don't want to keep you from the water for too long here, but this is great, guys. If you're watching and you're interested in having a white labeled scraper, that's the domain, whitelabeldScraper.com. Great domain, guys.
Yeah, it's actually, there's just white label scraper.
Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it?
I think you added a D, white labeled.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You just can't hear me because you're at the beach.
That's probably it. I got sand in my ears.
WhitelabeldScraper.com. Andre, kudos for the work. I get the sense that you're the guy that's building this stuff, not Ross.
I am not the magician.
Cool, guys. Well, check it out, whitelabeldScraper.com. Thanks for coming back on, guys. Thanks for all the great work. Ross, enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. Well, believe it or not, I am working till about 5:30 or so. I have quite a few campaigns to keep going through.
Well, keep living the dream. Andre, I hope you stay warm up there.
We'll see you guys.
Andre's on mute. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.